Hello and welcome to the Our Glory Days Growing Up in the 80s and 90s podcast. I'm Alan Wycherley and this is episode 8. Now, I've got to admit I was struggling for content this week. I've got loads of ideas, but I'm still kind of trying to put that off until, I can start working with some other people, fingers crossed. I've noticed less American listeners this week, which is kind of disappointing. Gained a listener from Australia, which is nice. Hopefully you stick around. But yeah, so I was looking online for things that happened on this day in history. Nothing exciting from the 80s or 90s, but going ahead to what happened on this day in 2 days' time, on the 20th of February. What I saw was in 1986, the Russians launched what was the main part of the Mir space station, which I remember happening. I remember either hearing it or reading it in the news at that time, but not a lot being made of it because we're still in the the Cold War was still well and truly going at that point. And yeah, I think it was kind of massively overlooked, but it reminded me also of, the space exploration at that time was kind of fizzling out a lot, but still there. I think the Star Wars thing was kind of going around about that time as well. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, general public attitudes towards it were well on the wane, which has always surprised me because as a kid learning about these things, I always found absolutely fascinating. But we only spent such a small part of our childhood learning about it, and we learned about the moon landings, and around about the time we were doing it, we watched the Challenger launch on that fateful day, which I also think was in 1986, if I'm correct. Haven't looked it up, might be wrong, but yeah, I think it was 1986. And I always presumed I watched it live, but thinking about it with the time difference, I'm not sure how that works, but it must have worked out because I can't imagine teachers kind of recording it and then showing that to us kids unless they're really sick-minded, but who knows. But yeah, I remember watching it at school, and I remember teachers being shocked. But I also remember none of the kids really caring. We would have been 7, 8 years old at the time, and I'm not sure if we just couldn't comprehend what we just watched, or whether watching things like Star Wars and Star Trek, we were just kind of used to spaceships blowing up, or what. But yeah, none of us really cared what was going on, what happened. Couldn't comprehend it. But, space, what happened? Because we seem to be discovering more and more all the time, and less people really care. What happened? Why did the magic go? Do kids still care about it or not? I can't recall my children because my kids are 18 and soon to be 16 now, and I don't ever remember them running back from school all excited to tell me about what they were learning about at school to do at space. So is that because they've stopped doing it at school, or is it just that it's so boring, the things that we teach them now? But yeah, I remember loving space education at school. Let me know what you got taught, what you think, what your experiences of those things were. As usual, I'll put all of the links to the socials and to the new YouTube channel in the description. Also, I'm making a video at the moment in defence of the traditional martial arts. I'm not putting it up on the Our Glory Days page though, because it's going to be focused around what's happening now. In the research for the episode I did on martial arts, I've seen a lot of negative comments towards traditional martial arts that I think's really unfair, so I'm going to try and address that. So I'll put the link to that video on here at some point, or on a future podcast. I haven't finished doing that yet, but yeah, get in touch. Let's make this more enjoyable and hopefully make longer episodes. Have a bit more of a think about what I'm going to do next week. Thanks for listening or watching. Like and subscribe. Leave a review, as long as it's going to be a positive one. And yeah, catch you next week. Bye for now.